So we've got a treat today. We're out at an active placer and Lode mining claim, and Aaron's going to tell us about it here.
Starting off, this would be the heartbeat of the mine. This is actually the lungs of the mine right here. The heartbeat would be the compressed air. This is our ventilation right here. It allows you to reverse it in case there's a fire. You can draw air out instead of forcing smoke into the mine. It's good to see it's all in good shape right here. Stays dry. You don't want your computer getting wet. And luckily this pond liner serves the purpose of keeping it dry.
Excellent.
And you see we got endless amounts of ventilation right here.
Oh, okay, I was wondering what that was, yeah.
Really collapses down to a small size. Zips together. Make sure you put anti-seize on the zipper or you'll never get them apart. It's a 12B mucker that's not in service at the moment. Turntable needs to be set onto it. But got in trouble one time for doing a little artwork on the thing.
Oh, I think it's much better that way.
I think it's sci-fi said fuck MTAR or something like that on it.
Well, that might have caused more problems.
This is like when we're core drilling, this is our high-tech cable. We set them onto you.
Sorry, can you repeat that? It's hard to hear over
Well, when we're core drilling, this is our high-tech setup that we have for examining the cores and cutting them. We have a tile saw sitting here.
Very sophisticated.
And these boxes here.
Got core samples in there.
Of course, I'd like to find a full one to make it look better. But anyways, several different locations when you're in one set spot, particularly set up with the drill. You're going to drill in several directions to get a cross section of the mine in that particular area.
Right.
So these are all depths that the core was taken from. Obviously, it's the start of a hole right here. Then, in ideal conditions, your cores wouldn't be broken. They'd just be in full pieces. You could just kind of snake out of the tube, and there it is. But we struggled a little bit with setup and everything, and then of course there's faulted ground conditions in there, which creates all sorts of problems, like a rock dropping in, when your steel's in there, trapping the steel, not having enough water pressure to force the cuttings out of the hole. In case you were to lose a tooth from one of the bits, you just keep re-drilling on it and re-grinding on that thing, it would just dull the bit. You would not make any headway. I forgot where I was, but
broken up
broken up core samples here. Some of them you'll see it's just going through country rock, probably serpentine right here. Some of them we've intersected the quartz vein, not knowing if there's 6 veins that run through the property in north-south strike. A, B, C, D, E. There's one of them in there that carries gold all the way through it. Through its entire length, all the way to Sonora, Jackson, on down to Mexico. It pays. That's the one we're after.
Understandably.
There's been past records of taking a big strike out of there and not needing any more gold and pulling out, and going and buying a ranch somewhere.
Wow.
We could drill out some of the holes would be going out 400 feet. Get a cross section, and instead of having to clear the cave-ins in order to access that part of the mine, we can just drill it.
Right.
See
if it's worth it.
Yeah, and they'd have certain angles they'd want them drilled at 15 degree down, 10 degrees sideways, type of thing. So we just eyeballed the best we could, and there it would be.
Nice.
But when you have 300 or 400 foot of drill string out in the hole, it's impossible to move. So on the core drill is mounted a pneumatic puller. And it just pistons out, grabs a hold of the rod, and pulls it in a section at a time. And it's very, very helpful.
I'm sure, yeah.
It's important when you're core drilling, you make sure you're always turning the steels one direction. Because if you turn them the other way, it could back off somewhere down the drill string, and you'd lose the whole string from where it broke loose. Very, very labor-intensive process.
I'm sure,
As far as paying attention, you don't have to do that. But keeping track of what and where this came from.
Right.
It's a real pain.
I can imagine, yeah. Especially you got so many boxes of them.
Yeah, and this is just a portion of them.
Yeah, I see you got some more over there. Yeah.
This will probably be one of the last boxes you do come across, maybe. I mean, it is on top, and you see, you know, dealing with broken stuff. Sometimes we pull the drill string out, and there'd be one pebble in there that had been rounded off to just nothing.
Wow.
And know that we're drilling, know everything that's going on. Pretty sure we captured the core because they have a retaining ring there that keeps it from backing out.
Yeah.
Anyways, it could just break and just fall back into the hole or whatever. You know, there's also ways of sampling by just testing the cuttings. You know, at certain depths, you can see what's in there without having to pull cores. We're using the water that's flushing out of it.
Oh, gotcha.
It's important to, you know, we were experimenting with pumps that we were using. We had a good diaphragm pump that would throw a big volume of water down a hole, but it didn't have enough pressure. What was needed was, I have it right outside right here, but it's a high pressure pump. You get up to 1500 PSI.
Man.
And that'll force a broken tooth from a drill out of the hole. It'll force all your cuttings out of the hole. You know, like I said, with not enough water pressure, you're just re-cutting the same shit you already cut, and it allows a big slurry to build up behind the bit, and makes it difficult to pull out. Because you would have, say you have a depth of a hole that's 350 feet. If you don't use it, and they want to target a certain area, like, you know, 323 to 353 feet, or that's when you change over to your core bit. And this is a diamond infused bit. It costs about $1,000 a piece. That's when you'd want to start pulling core and not having to use the core all the way. So you'd use a different kind of bit, which is more for cutting. And that has a taper to it. So when your muck gets the slurry, it stays in the hole, it fills in behind that bit and makes it really difficult to pull out.
Right.
So, yeah, the pump's out here. It's
got a bunch of other treasures in here too, looks like.
Another bunch of what?
A bunch of treasures in here, mine treasures.
Oh yeah, this right here. You ever played the game Doom?
Yeah, I was noticing that.
This is a freaking bad dog right here. It's got a handle on the end for somebody else to hold a piece of it.
Man, this thing's a beast.
You can rotate the cutting head, so for cutting laterally or wherever if you can't get any room to cut. Yeah, that's fucking badass right here.
What do you guys use that for?
You don't dare pick it over your head like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
No, I wouldn't think so.
It's fucking heavy. It's like and then you drop it on the foot.
What do you use that for?
Cutting timbers.
Oh, okay.
It's got a real aggressive chain on it. Right there, and you know, it throws big shavings out.
Yeah.
Cuts big chunks.
Yeah.
And these saws, they see a lot of abuse underground. I mean, you put any tool underground, it starts, you know, rusting and sticking together.
Oh yeah, the underground environment's harsh on the tools.
Yeah, everything's run off of drill oil and compressed air. It lubricates the chain.
Yeah.
But you have muck everywhere and it sticks to everything. When the bar is oily, it sticks to it.
Oh wow.
So you don't really have a choice of a sharp chain. You gotta use what you got.
Yeah, just muscle your way through it.
Then there's an air-operated skill saw there, or a beam saw too, that does pretty good.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
You know, it has to have an oiler on it, so it's getting a lot of oil at once, a lot of oil.
I see.
Oh yeah. And this is some of the drill steel that we were using.
For the core samples?
Yeah, they come in 5-foot sections. There'll be another, probably another union in here somewhere.
Okay.
They break down, you know, and you got to make sure you have all the right couplers there.
Yeah, for sure.
Because there's some that are similar, and they'll fit a little bit, but it'll cause the thing to wobble.
Right.
When it wobbles, it makes the hole bigger. If you have an inch deflection over here, by the time you're 100 feet out, you know, 10 feet.
Yeah, it's a problem, yeah.
Or dropping. You don't really have a problem with the bits climbing, you know, unless it hits harder. I couldn't see that happening. But you have to start your holes out at an upward angle so it drops down to the location you want to through gravity.
Oh, I see.
And really with that much, you know, it's not that much drill string to have 400 feet out there, so you don't have to worry about the deflection too bad.
Huh.
in the hole. There's some homemade thing with a rock bit right here.
Oh, nice.
Slip it over there, try and force it on the end of the threaded end, get it in there, and you know, maybe it would go all the way down here, lock on somehow, be able to pull it out. Because now that it's still stuck in the hole, it's going to be a pain in the ass to mine out there.
Yeah, for sure.
False target,
for sure.
Any number of things. This mine here, you don't have to really, like when we dug our refuge chamber in there, you didn't have to worry about drilling it. So you can just use a spader. It's like a little air-operated jackhammer. This particular one is a drill as well, but to just chip away at the ash layer in there that is...
Just breaks it out, yeah?
Yeah, you can pick at it all day long and it just falls apart. And that's what the majority of the slabs in the mine are from.
Oh, okay. This is our charging station for a trammer. It's a 48 volt Manson trammer. In the mine it's really small, so we had to adjust the seat position in there so you're a lot closer to the battery box than you would normally be. I gotcha.
And also we made it so you don't have to sit sideways in the trammer because it fucking hurts your neck.
Yeah.
And you can see.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyways, they charge them overnight and alternate, you know, one would charge one day, the next day the other one would charge.
Makes sense.
And so they're always powered up. And speaking of the rod puller for the core drill, this is what it is right here. It's the big pneumatic piston. You have your controls here, forward, backwards. This is just to shut the air supply off. But forward, you know, forward, backwards, the exhaust for it, or something I don't really remember. But it operates really quick, and it has a fitting on the end there called a dog. It just slides out, grabs a hold of the pipe, and when it's pulled on, it has, through pressure, it just locks into place the pipe and pulls it out.
Huh.
But another chainsaw there. Various jack leg parts. This is, I think these are jackhammers. One's a sinking hammer for like drilling straight down.
Right.
There's a bazooka down here. You're working in a limited area and you don't want to run ventilation pipe out there and everything, so you can just run some compressed air hose out there, hook up to this right here, and it blasts air out there.
Nice.
Called a bazooka. You have lots of bits and stuff, different flavors of bits, a lot of Dixon fittings, which are very handy to have.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Even though the ones we find on the old hoses that are rusted up, look like shit, we can break it loose. We use the fitting.
Yeah?
You know, yep.
Huh.
They're really easy because they adapt to pipe threading, you know, normal pipe thread. And so you can make up different things here.
Gotcha.
Here's some of the core bits. Now these are actually just threaded female connectors for a long hole steel, which is for punching a hole way out there. It's heavy duty steel. You can add sections together with these rope threads right here that go together really easy. Grease them up so you don't have problems with them coming apart. But that would be for a long hole steel. Put it back where it goes.
Good stuff.
Of course, air tugger, whatnot, little small guy.
Oh, just down there, yeah.
Yeah. These are our column bars. This is what we would be mounting a core drill onto. It's forced through mechanically through the back and the floor of the mine, the foot of the mine, and then the core drill would hang off of that, and then the rod puller in itself would hang off the core, you know, be mounted to the core drill in a certain location, whatever it needs to fit and work, function properly. You always want to make sure you have a full stroke. You don't want to be pulling out like little bits.
Yeah.
If you have to, but you want a full stroke. It's like getting a full shovel full.
Gotcha.
Or a full bucket. Here is a beautiful portal. Ventilation fan protected from the snow.
Yeah.
By a structure built by yours truly.
Nice.
Oh, it looks so bad.
Yes. This is another high pressure pump right here that we had at a different mine. Some more core bits. You can see the wear that they take.
Yeah.
They start off square and oversized, but through regrinding the same cuttings or whatever issue it is, they wind up like this. When they're like this, the drill doesn't drill. It just binds up and it'll twist on the column bar, so you have to break it loose at the chuck for it to relax, and you see it snap back, you know.
Oh, nice.
And it's no good when it binds. It starts slowing down. It'll cause your steel to turn, and it's bad news.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Over here, this was a pump that was in the mine right here when they were core drilling previously. This is a high pressure bean pump, they're called.
Huh.
Anyways, it has 3 pistons right here that force the water in through. This is just an air motor. You hook your air up there, then you have pressure. You can monitor the pressure. But this thing will put out 1500 psi.
Wow.
And that's a lot.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, it would blow apart normal hoses we have that are reinforced with steel.
Man.
It would blow those apart. But you use black poly line for it. Just a little like 1-inch line.
Man, it works,
And that's what it was going through, yeah.
Wow.
You don't have to run at 1500 psi. You can choke it down a little bit. But get the cuttings out, you know.
Yeah.
You want water just spraying out that hole. You got to put something over it to stop it from spraying on it.
Understandable.
This thing was in the mine here, and it had been underwater for 40 years, plus years. And there was several collapses, and it was sitting there at a junction in there, and covered with muck, rusty as hell. Pulled it out of there, cleaned it up, hooked the air to it, fired right up.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's the benefit of these air pneumatic motors.
Yeah, that's incredible.
You pour a little oil into the hose or get oil into the motor, and it's good to go.
That's incredible.
Like these mucking machines right here, these things take lots of abuse.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of times they're left in the mines. This thing's relatively clean right now because it's been raining on it, but normally it's covered with grease, drill oil, muck. But this is a workhorse for the mine right here.
Yeah, I'll bet.
And some of them have a centering device, so when you raise the bucket up, the turntable automatically centers and then throws the bucket into the ore car that's tethered to it behind it.
Understood.
And many times you don't have that afforded to you. So you disconnect the turntable so you can pre-spin it, you know, and then you have to control how it's raised when you're throwing the muck, and make sure you don't throw the muck onto the track behind you, because that's a pain in the ass. Yeah. Anytime muck's thrown, it sets up like concrete.
Oh, nice.
You know, you really got to work at it. That's why a lot of people have slick sheets down there.
Yeah.
On the ground.
Yeah.
So you can shovel off of it.
Yeah, we've seen those a lot.
If you just have it set on the ground, your shovel just kind of goes bleh.
Yeah.
Here's a fin hoe right here. It's a miner's favorite tool.
What do you call that?
It's called a fin hoe.
Okay, because we've seen this before and wondered what the exact terminology was.
Yeah, this is for pulling your muck into the ore cars, out of the ore chutes, clearing out stopes, anything.
Yeah, it makes sense.
It's a go-to tool. You know, a square point shovel for loading ore cars and whatnot off of the slick sheet, awesome. Then a spade shovel for your actual heavy-duty work. But if you can, like in here, the ground is pretty soft.
Yeah.
Which is good. So if you need to cut a hip for some timbers or something like that, you can do it pretty easily with just a rock hammer.
That's good.
We'll be seeing some spots in there where the sections were muddy, so there'll be planks there. Because if you stood in the mud for any amount of time, you'd sink down. They'd pull your boot off.
Yeah, we know a thing or two about that. Yeah, we know a thing or two about that.
Not good. It's like when you're trying to go underground and your socks slip down to your toes, past your ankle. It's really hard to focus on what you need to do because your sock is fucking with you. But anyways, enough about socks. So here it has the option to put a foot platform in there. You just slide it in these 2 holes right there.
Okay.
Most of the miners that I know, they don't like to use that thing because it gives you the potential to run over your foot as you're operating this thing. A lot of times you can't be on the platform. You need to be up here looking to see what's going on.
Right.
Plus, you don't have the leverage for steering the turntable because you're basically pulling it by hand, to get it to turn and stuff.
Yeah.
As you're operating the bucket, and you're forward, reverse, and the bucket right here. You got to all work synchronously as you're driving the machine forward. you're digging down because it's set to go in between the rails, clean the rails out. That's why this is cut out like that. But you also got to clean your ribs up down on either side of it so you can walk. You don't want cobble laying down on the ground and having to trip over it. You just want that stuff. So you try and clean it up as best you can. You know, and in this mine we can't fill our ore cars up full like you would normally do. You want to pull as much out as possible. Well, this one you got to leave them flat with the top of it. Because the way our ventilation's laid out, the size of the adit, very small.
I see.
You know, it's if you have a derail in there, God forbid, it'd be a real pain in the ass to clear out because you have to climb over all the derail cars to get out, go get some help, clamber over the bed, you know, as you go, and then there's no place to dump them up either.
Wow.
You couldn't even swing a tub in there.
Wow.
So it'd be one of those things you drag it, the train will drag one through there and you have to shovel it all out. So when we retract the mine, we made it bulletproof. We made it, you know, checked it everywhere with the gauge, made sure there was no ties that were sagging. We went through and placed ballast under all the ties. And ballast is just crushed rock like you see right here. You just take the end of a shovel and you beat it down and it works its way down into the points where it needs to be to give stability. There's sections of the mine right here where we replaced the track on top of old track that was already there. You know, just set timbers on the rails and went from there because it was already leveled out enough and just needed an elevation change. This mine, pretty much everywhere in there is all just track splice turns for the rail. We didn't have to do any bending of the rail. There's a portion back in the mine about 2,000 feet where there's an S-curve in there, and that's the only section I've seen so far in the mine where they have bent rail. And the old timers were amazing at their task. They were able to bend pipe like this. You know, 4-inch tall pipe. You go around corners. They do it with a torch, you know, and bend it by hand. And it's really an artwork.
For sure, yeah.
We're still using some of those old pipes.
Wow.
You know, some of them had to come out and get pinhole leaks fixed. Some were able to just use fittings to make the turns, or if we couldn't make the turn, we used bull hose, which is, I think, 3-inch pressed airline, reinforced steel, heavy-duty stuff. We have all our air pipe here. Got a good deal on it, so it just has one end, and we have these fittings we can just weld on there.
Oh,
and
nice.
make a section right there. Or double them up and have a 60-foot long section, whatever you need. You see along here, this is coming from our compressed air bank over here and into the portal.
Right.
But where it was sitting on that ventilation fan right there, it's bent. This is from a snow load.
Wow.
You see the T-posts are bent.
Yeah.
It was chained up here, it's bent and dropped down. It was running along the same level pretty much into the portal. There's another thing that had to be made. You can't have these pipes stored everywhere on the ground, and when you're getting a new pipe out of there, it's dangerous because they can fucking start to roll, excuse my language. So it's better to have them organized in a spot. You know, they could actually be, you want them kind of turn one end for the other end, you know, so there's a bell end on this end and a cut end on that end. That's just the way it works out and how you need them. And to the welder, it doesn't really matter. But to make this pipe gallery right here and make it so it's strong enough to hold all this stuff and still accessible through the equipment we have, including our forks. Ideally, you want a piece of dunnage placed in between the pipe, layers of pipe, so you can just come in with the forks, pick it up.
Right.
That's not the case right now. And all our trains and stuff, we have these drawbars down here. This is what we link the trains to the ore cars. There's various links for carrying timber in. Sometimes we'd be carrying 25-foot pieces of timber in there and lagging.
Wow.
And going around the corners, you know, you have to figure out what kind of a drawbar you need so it doesn't bind up the corners.
Yeah, for sure.
Then cut to fit, make it how you need it. More drill steels right here. You can see they're seen better days. This is all stuff we couldn't use.
I see.
Sizes.
I see.
If you have something that's rusted out like that, you don't want it down in the hole right there and have a chance to break.
No.
So it's better to use new stuff.
For sure, yeah.
All same size. won't come off the track. Most likely this would have been for a hoist, to be on a hoist right here in a decline to have this situation right here, but it does help. These are 1-ton ore cars. Right here. You just step on this lever, or excuse me, you lift this lever right here. It releases the pin that's underneath there that holds the tub in place. And you just get them rocking back and forth a little bit and then just dump.
Wow, okay.
You know, maybe a 1, 2, 3, boom, dump. Depending on what kind of muck is in there.
Gotcha.
If the muck is sticky, like a bunch of clay kind of stuff right there, you want to chain the car, the trucks off to the rail so it doesn't flip over into the freaking dump bottom.
I understand, yeah.
That's a real pain in the butt and it's embarrassing. This thing's had many different skins on it before. This is a ballasting car. You have the slick sheet in here so you can get the muck, the rock out really easy.
Yeah.
Fill it full with the backhoe, it would take the load, take it in there and just break it out. And then, you know, start, you know,
Gotcha.
hammering it down, trying to get it underneath the ties.
Gotcha.
And when we're doing rail work, you don't have to struggle with putting the spikes in. If need be, you have a slide hammer. It doesn't allow the splashing in your face every time, because the majority of the track is under water.
Okay.
So, and you always go in and you pre-drill your holes.
I see, makes sense.
Just run a bit down in there so the spike has a place to go. You're not bending it, you're not struggling.
Makes sense.
Work smarter, not harder. A good friend of mine showed me that trick, and I'm sure I'm happy that he did. So when we were taking muck out, we were only hauling muck out just for these core drilling stations to enlarge it, so we had more room to work and whatnot. So the muck we'd haul out, we'd put in this dump pocket over here. From there, a loader would take it up here and we'd just deposit it up here on this little road.
Okay.
Get it out of the way. Eventually we'll come in here, clean this up, and make a little road across there to build a reinforced berm. Prevent any kind of rock fall.
Makes sense.
The water comes out of the mine about 150 gallons a minute. It's been doing it ever since. There's a hell of an aquifer in there that comes up out of a winze. And it just boils up there, and well, it dumps into here, and you can see what kind of silt and whatnot. It's just from people walking around.
Oh man.
There's a mouse in there. Looks like he's holding his breath pretty good. We have these booms right here in case there's any drill oil that contaminates the water or anything like that.
Yeah.
It gets caught by these booms. And it also, we have a secondary way of filtering it too, which goes through a foot valve right here into our pump, which can be computer controlled. There's a controls box over there.
Oh, okay.
And it'll, you know, however many RPMs, how many gallons you want, you can go up, down. And it goes from here into these filter bags, which they're porous. And when it's hot out, it's really refreshing to go over, you know.
Nice.
Kind of lay on the bag. Not good if it's been, you know, silted in for a while. You want
Understandable.
to try and pop it,
Understandable.
because then it sends out, you know, 2,000 gallons of water really fast down the creek.
No good.
But you know, after it leaves the bag, it filters through this crushed rock right here. And it's all lined with pond liner, so it's not getting into the soil or anything like that.
Yeah.
And causing more muck. But then it goes into settling pond, and then there's old filter bags that were used for baffles to slow the sediment down.
Okay.
Duck it in there, several sets. Goes over a weir in another settling pond, into another weir, and then towards the creek and over another weir. That
Okay.
allows a continuous certain amount of volume of water to go into that creek without being obstructed.
Gotcha.
Here, along here, there's a creek right here that fills up with water in the wintertime. That's like a jam, and you can see it over the top of this mound right here. I mean, it's freaking gnarly.
Yeah.
And it's also part of the creek system that's below the mine here. Over there we have a trommel. That was there.
Oh, that's
already here at the mine, and really heavy sucker.
I'll bet.
And not being in operation, it could be an MSHA violation if you don't have it locked out, tagged out.
Oh, okay.
So it has no do not use tags on it. You know, anything that you find out here that's broken or whatever, you have to lock it out, tag it out, so somebody knows.
I see.
It's not only the law, but it's safe. It's a safe practice to have. You know,
Yeah.
safety is your best friend, and it's the mine environment is only going to be as safe as you make it.
Right.
You know, if you're careless, you're not going to have a long career in there. If you're cautious and, you know, diligent at what you're doing, stay at it, stay focused, you'll get through it. There's a lot of sections in here where it's very sketchy, collapse sections, and re-timbering those sections, you don't want to disturb the rock that's above you and bring it down. That's the last thing you want. So you want to spile through it. Spiling is creating your adit through the cave-in where there wasn't an existing cave-in, and there is now. You spile through it. Keep all the muck in place, and as you're advancing forward, you're able to pull out the dirt in a controlled manner, as to not have it all just come flooding into where you're working. Because basically you make a shell around yourself and you just advance it forward a little bit. And it has a really heavy-duty reinforced back support with timbers, and you make everything tight with wedges, so there's no slack between the rock and what you're doing.
Gotcha.
Because that's your enemy. You know, you want to keep everything in place.
Yeah.
In the Quonset hut, there was a machine in there that you clamp both sections of pipe to be joined together, and it has a knife in there that cuts each edge of the pipe two different directions, so they are a perfect fit, you know, and perfectly flush. Then there's an iron you stick in between the two surfaces, and you let it heat up. You know, it's like 500 something degrees Fahrenheit. You let it heat up, and you force the two pieces against the iron, and they start heating up, mushrooming out. And after a certain amount of time, you pull it out of there real quick and then shove it together, because it has a lever on it that allows it to be forced into the other section and to be perfectly in alignment with the other section.
Gotcha.
It's a really strong joint right there. Hard to break.
Interesting.
I mean, if you run over with a train or snag it on something, sure, it's going to break. And that's all happened before.
I'm sure.
This is an old piece right here. It's on site already. Somebody did a hell of a job building it as far as heavy duty. The barrel, since we've moved it around, the barrel is off of its seats right here normally. This combo would run on these wheels right here.
Right.
Right there. But not being in use, it has to be properly categorized, you know, taken offline, out of service.
Yeah.
This is a head frame built out of parts over here, reinforced, and it would sit underneath the track over here at the dump box site. It would sit underneath the track there. That's all being reinforced with steel and stuff, so it can't be snagged by a loader. You know, there's steel going down, so you can just go in so far.
Yeah.
And down below, there's heavy-duty rail there that's running in 3 rows, so you don't keep digging down deeper and deeper. Anyways, this is the air tugger. We would use this. The cable would go up over there, and it would go down underneath the track, and then you hook it to one of the handles on the ore car or on the lip of it, and just by releasing the lever and turning the air tugger on, it would pull down and it would dump the car. If you're one man out here. You know, it can be a lot for one man. We had some people that didn't have but 130 pounds of weight underneath them, and they would need that.
Yeah, I imagine.
This is the outdoor workshop right here. Not breathing welding fumes. It was in a lot better shape. Winter was hard on it. Great place to take a break.
Yeah.
Over here by where the creek comes out. In the wintertime, we'd be out here and we have a fire built over there.
Nice.
This is freezing.
Yeah.
A burning table for cutting stuff with a torch, not having slag going back through you. You can just kind of cut right on here. Good for welding as well. Various parts here and there.
Yeah.
Wheelbarrows, I've seen better days. And it's important to have a good vise on site too.
Yeah.
You need a good vise, you need something that's going to be durable, and usable. You want it to be able to function at many different angles and in many different uses. So we have a pipe vise, or we have a vise mounted on a piece of pipe. It's all welded together. It's reinforced concrete underneath there with, I don't know, number 8 rebar. Keep it from moving, because some of these fittings are on so tight you can spin the vise right around if it was just a pipe and concrete.
Wow.
Yeah. We have our tool connects.
I think people will like this one.
We have a shop in town, so a lot of our tools are in town, and squirrels are up here, and they're running around, and they go up in there and they flip all the fittings out there and possibly chew them.
I was wondering about that actually.
Yeah, there's a hole cut through the connex back there for, I forget what it was for.
Oh man.
But that allows them entry in your...
Oh, they made a mess, didn't they?
You can see there's mice are curious about what's going on here, so they're up here shitting all over everything.
Yeah.
Most important part of keep the mine functioning.
Oh yeah, that's absolutely.
Coffee.
Absolutely.
But just various tools, various bins for nuts and storage. You know, still have lots of stuff that hasn't been separated. We got stuff for making Victolic pipe connections. Over here, you know, welded sleeves that can be crimped on. You name it.
Huh.
If that big ventilation fan ever goes down, we have a secondary backup, which is this little electric jobber, and it's not sufficient for more than 1 or 2 people working underground.
I see.
And since we don't have any air doors in there, so to speak, to direct any of the air, it's kind of just filling up everything in there. And there's spots where there's a lot of space.
Right. Right.
I got you. Filters for the equipment, whatnot. It's important to keep maintenance on top of the maintenance so you don't fall behind and forget what's what.
True.
To where the old track used to go out to the old dump.
Yeah, that'd be good to see that.
There's a really heavy snow load up here, and so the roofs have to be reinforced by these uprights.
Oh, wow, okay. So those are the bathrooms, flush toilets even?
What's a toilet? Flush toilet. We have septic back there that can be pumped at a regular interval.
Very civilized.
Storage for our oxygen cylinders and whatnot, full ones, empty ones. Our water tank for supplying water, non-potable water. Up there, just gravity feed, gives you a good head on the thing. Stash of miners, the best friends of miners, which is a wedge.
Ah, yes.
If you have rock that you're concerned of, if it's moving or not, you drive a wedge into the crack right there. And every day you go by it, you monitor that wedge. You'll give it a little shake and see if it's loosened up. If it's loosened up, then you know that it's loosened up.
Yeah, an issue.
A lot of this miscellaneous stuff right here. This is our timbers that we use in the mine. Very important to keep the sun off them. Some of them need to be covered more, and before we leave today, I'll cover it. So we have a rail. That's mostly for spiling. If you ever wanted to use it, you could use that. It's not the same gauge as the rail we have inside. And you want everything to match up so there's no bumps in there. You're never going bump, 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 bump. You want a smooth operation.
Understandable.
It's very important to have a good system of going in and out of the mine. You don't want to have hang-ups or any slowdowns. If there's a bottleneck here, it slows everybody else up, and you know you can't do your job. Then you have to stop and go in and fix what's going on there. And so when you go through, you fix it right the first time.
Yeah.
You know, don't cut corners. Use the right tool for the job and the right material for the job.
Right, right.
This landing used to just be a mud field out here, so we brought crushed ballast rock in here and distributed it over here to keep the mud down. It makes it a lot nicer.
Yeah, sure.
Our office connex there, where some people make the magic happen. But you know, first aid station always within reach on any of the buildings around here. Eye wash stations. Up here we have the luxury of having Wi-Fi.
Nice.
And through our solar, which it has been amazing. It goes into some batteries behind. and you can either be ran through the generator, which is running over here in the background, or through solar. But you know, you have Wi-Fi up here, which is really nice to have, because you can't get cell service up here.
Right.
We have satellite phones, but that's hit and miss too. You have to be in the right spot.
Yeah, I know, those are finicky.
You know, and you'd actually find the right spot and paint a circle on it, you know, right there, so you can not have to look around going, can you hear me now? One of the mine trucks, it's been a real workhorse. It's a 2002 F350, not a big deal, but it's had a little bit of history too. When the bed ripped off of it when we were hauling some equipment out of here in a freak snowstorm. The bed ripped off with the 45-foot trailer that was behind it. It was laying in the middle of the road, so it was a quick scramble to get everything, you know, back down here and a loader up there to recover the equipment and get out of the way to a later date where we can get up there when the snow is melted. And you know, that's what we did. It was a few weeks before we could.
Man.
But very utilitarian truck. I mean, it hauls, you can see it has a mill on the back of it right now. It's hauled fuel up and down here, and you know, 300 gallons of fuel is not light.
No.
It's towed trailers with huge amounts of pipe on it, you know, and you know, this trailer over here, this is the only trailer that we can get up the mine from the front side. Otherwise, we have to go way around.
Oh man.
For a little car hauler. It's been reinforced so it can take a hit, you know, going on rocks and everything like that. But you know, miscellaneous stuff. Here's the actual core barrel stuff we have here. This is currently what we'd be using. You know, this is our coring. Excuse me, this is for our casing. You drill casing in there first, and then from there you can just run your bits down the hole. But different sections of stuff right here, core barrels and whatnot. You see that the connecting sections also have a cutting edge on them too.
Oh yeah.
Which is just to prevent wear more so than cutting. But you know, scaling bar, which is something every mine has to have.
Yeah.
In there. This is one of the bits right here for initially starting the holes. Right here it has carbides on the sides of it, carbide cutting teeth up front right here, and they're expensive. They're about $600. So we had some people come out here and they're talking about core drilling, and one of the guys showed me how to sweat these out of there. Just heat them up with a cutting torch, they drop out, spin them around, resolder them in there, and you have a new bit.
Nice.
A new to you used bit.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a good view of our landing here. The bed on this truck, it ripped off from the cab back.
Man.
It didn't have toolboxes underneath at the time, or I don't remember if it did or not, but it's a heavy bed. And it had different holes cut in it, so it was reinforced with a piece of plate. And initially it was tack welded to the frame, which you don't do. So it'll come back in and put U-bolts in there to make everything right and allow the bed to flex without breaking. And this started out its life as a fleet side pickup truck with single wheel axles on the rear, and it became a dually. And as a dually, you can't miss any bump, or you always get rocks in between the tires there.
I'm sure, yeah.
And down here is a little view down the creek. There's another adit down below here, bushes that's collapsed, but
okay.
Another 100 feet or so vertical, which is what when we reopen, we're going to stop, drop down to the mine, and drive a new adit in, and raise up on the workings that are existing in there, and be able to drain the mine and have a second exit. Before any production mining takes place here, we have to have a second exit.
Right.
Right now we have forced ventilation in there. The second exit would allow ventilation through
natural ventilation. Yeah.
And over yonder is an old piece of equipment. It's a hopper, probably maybe shook, something like that. You know, it's screened some of the rock. The waste rock is just thrown off the edge right there on there.
I see.
You know, nowadays you can't do that.
Right.
This is our battery bank. Use that, whatever. But you can see the snow did a number on it.
Indeed.
We have another backup generator in the brown cabinet over there. These are various ore chute bins, you know, release gates for it.
Oh, interesting.
We have another Deutsch generator up on top. It used to be in our dry.
Huh. Yeah, we're used to seeing the old wooden ore chute, so it's interesting to see those.
Yeah, a little modern thing. They're heavy too. Various crushers and pulverizing equipment there. This is a long hole steel right here for those rope bed steels I was telling you about.
Oh yeah.
This allows you to drill holes way out there, you know.
Interesting.
Shade, no snake hunting, please.
That's a serious.
Yeah, it's on a skid, so you drag it into place where you want to work, and most likely you'd be doing this on the surface.
Right.
So you
Man,
just
that's
drag
no
it
joke.
wherever you need to. We have a U.S. military compressor set up right here that's chopper lifting capable.
Nice.
Everything was self-contained in it. It has saws, drills, you name it. Was already tooled up in there, but it's the wrong size for what we need. Anyways, so we weren't really using any of the tools like that, but it's an air-cooled Deutz motor. There's no radiator checking, no worries about that. Just have all the proper ventilation in place for the motor, and it works fine. It runs good. It puts out probably, I'm gonna say 200 CFM, maybe 250.
Huh.
It's a beast. It's enough to run several drills back in there. You know, when we were core drilling, we were having an issue with air consumption, and a lot of it is to do with bits being worn out.
I see.
And so to try and add more air, we could add several compressors in line to really boost it up.
Gotcha.
That kind of thing can take, you know, a toll on connections and fittings. You know, what can withstand this can't withstand that.
Yeah.
Anyways, it was never an issue of air volume. So this is a really nice machine right here. You'd have another compressor, 175 CFM, parked in this space right here, and they would be connected with bowl line, then fed into our manifold right up here. You have a series of reduction to get it into that size right there. I have a valve right here. A very important piece of equipment would be this reducer, which a good friend of mine provided, and it works wonderful. But this is the beginning of our compressed air system. It's all Victolic pipe all the way into the mine until you get to there's a section where the track is bent and it goes around some corners there. From there it's switched over to bowl line, which is a 3-inch reinforced hose like you see right here. Strong, able to take 650 PSI.
It's pretty good.
And probably take more if they just rate them at a certain rate.
Yeah.
This is our dry right here. It's very simple. We started out probably with 10 miners on the payroll, and we're down to just a few of us. As the work needed, you know, once more of the heavy duty work was done, we didn't need as many people.
Yeah.
Always nice to have that many people on site. But,
For sure, yeah.
This is where you come in here and get changed and other, you know, extra storage, whatnot. Yeah, you can see like the reinforcing for the connects here. There's 2 wedges up there because
I'll
the
tell
piece
us
of wood
now.
was supposed to be turned on its edge for strength, but not laying on its side.
Yeah.
Hence why there's 2 wedges there. Oops. This would be our light charging station in here. All the lights are these little lights right now instead of a corded wheat lamp where you have a battery pack on your hip.
Yeah.
It's condensed down to this right here, and this gives you about 14 hours of service.
Wow.
A good 10 hours on high. You know, there's two brightness settings, relatively waterproof.
Huh.
It's a good light. And you always have another one in your lunchbox for backup.
Yeah.
But yeah, charging station, it's just a cabinet with probably some mouse boots and stuff. Down here is one of our powder magazines right here. This would be for your caps, your blasting caps, fuse, whatnot. Separated from the powder magazine that contains your explosives.
Right.
So it's been sitting for a couple of years, but normally you can see the wood is lined in there. How it's all lined and it all
Right.
pops into place and it's held there. You have a heavy-duty steel door with a heavy set of locks that can't be cut without mechanical means, you know, such as grinder and whatnot.
Right.
You have a grounding strap from the door to the main body of the magazine, and that's just to release static. Anything that could possibly go wrong, you want to eliminate.
Understandably.
Rip wrap placed all along here for erosion purposes. Rip wrap being the big rock
Yeah.
you see here, and all of it came out of the bank right here.
Oh, interesting.
as on all mine sites, you'd have a berm in place along the edge of the road where anybody would be driving, any equipment would be driving. So
Right.
it's a condition that it'll, in theory, prevent you from going over the edge.
In theory.
And it lets you know that you're hitting it, so wake you up if you're sleeping.
Yeah.
Initially, the mine dump site was out here, or it would run through a series of machineries right here, a grizzly being one of the last pieces that's in place. But the track would come out here.
Is this the original track?
Yeah, it could be original. I don't know, it's before my time.
Right.
But, if need be, you could still pull it up and go use it in the mine anywhere.
Wow.
But yeah, it would come all the way out here. That's a long distance to be traveling with the muck.
Yeah, it is.
The waste rock. They probably, I think the trommel that you've seen earlier would be in place somewhere out in here.
Okay.
Or somewhere below. You know, I don't really know how they had it set up out here. But probably below the grizzly, so it gets fed smaller rock that is already been sized.
Huh.
You know, in the olden days, it was okay to let everything go down the hill.
Yeah, I was just thinking I would just dump it in the creek and
Nowadays,
get washed
it's
away.
not, you know, you'd have to have a spot for your waste rock.
Right.
Your ore would have to be trucked out of sight, off site,
Okay.
to a different mill that's already established, because they're not going to allow any new mills to be erected in California without a hell of a lot of hoops to jump through.
Yeah.
There's a trestle system right there. It would initially went over to this equipment right here, and this would probably be a switch, so they could switch the cars. You know, have empty ones come out here as full ones were being loaded into the hopper.
Right.
But you know, it just discontinues right here at this point. Terminates, and we have more part of the claim down this way. It's overgrown, as you can see.
Yeah.
And there's another vein out here that hasn't been thoroughly checked. It hasn't been investigated. We haven't drilled it.
Interesting.
I think it had been briefly prospected, you know, explored in there. It's collapsed, but you can still see where rusty water's coming out of the foot of it. So
Interesting.
that lets me think that there has been some kind of human activity in there.
For sure, yeah.
Or there's just a water course that just follows the vein and has washed the gouge away that was between the vein and the country rock.
Yeah.
And just follows the quartz vein.
Makes sense.
This is our explosives magazine right here. Another thing, you know, how the wood is all set in there as per OSHA, MSHA rules. It's been inspected by the ATF. Everything's passed.
That's good. Huh.
But this is where we have our explosives. Nothing is here on site at this time.
That's a beefy container.
Yes, and it used to be in a different location, and we moved it all the way over here,
Yeah.
and it went off without a hitch.
Nice.